Hello, welcome to the Phenomenon podcast. I am Josh. My co-host today is going to be Aaron. He is currently away from the studio right now, but he will be back momentarily. Today's topic is on time travel. Also, just bear in mind for you guys today, I am not feeling very well today, so my voice may be a little bit more raspy. I've also just haven't slept in over 24 hours because I worked last night and I had a couple of doctor's appointments today. Don't worry, everything's all good. But yeah, so I'm gonna be here with you guys. I got energy drinks, I got coffee, so hopefully that will keep me up throughout the show. I apologize for last week's topic on the flat Earth theory. We had some issues with getting it posted. So with that being said, like I said, I apologize for that. It is posted currently on YouTube now, so if you want to go back and watch that, it is quickly becoming one of our more popular videos, which is absolutely amazing. I enjoy that you guys enjoy that content. If you guys want to see more stuff like that, please let us know. I'm going to go ahead and get our Discord here in the chat for you guys right now. Let me go ahead and do that. Sorry guys, I'm a little bit behind today. Like I said, I'm a little lethargic right now. All right. So Discord's currently in the chat. If you want to join our discussion, you can hop on over there to our Discord. Everything's worked out with that. You guys just accept the rules, and you can begin talking with us on there. Um, it's a nice little community that we got going on. We got a few new members in there. It's also where we post our announcements. So if you want to know about upcoming episodes, you can go ahead and get a little sneak peek teaser on that. It will give you a bio on what we're going to be coming out with for a topic. If you haven't already, go ahead and follow us on Twitch, subscribe on YouTube, hit that like button. If not, hit a dislike button. If you don't like the content, just let us know why you don't like it so that way we can improve our content better in the future. We are a learning and growing community, and we love to hear your feedback. I sound like I'm reading straight from a script, but I can assure you guys I am not, as I am now currently going off whatever current script I would have had. Um, I don't typically like doing this, but I'm gonna do this right now just because you know what? I want to do it. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump on my YouTube channel here for the podcast here. So currently we have 20 views for our last video. So I highly just appreciate that, guys. Says we have a comment too, but it's not showing up for me, so I don't know what that's about. I'll have to actually go on there and take a look here. Yeah, I absolutely appreciate that, guys. You guys have made this channel fantastic. Giving us plenty of likes on our video on our last one. I'm gonna try and see if I can't see what this comment says on my personal YouTube channel or account. Um, no comments yet. Awesome. All right, so we had the comment on our last YouTube channel. It says, you people lack the ability to even comprehend your own model. Obviously, I'm not going to get into Lorentz transform equation and the Michelson-Morley experiment. That would be way over your intellectual capability. Um, Probably not. 8 inches per mile squared is the necessary curvature rate for a 24,000 mile circumference sphere. The curve only exists in the minds of the indoctrinated. No, I've seen the curve of the Earth, but okay. Uh, Ring laser gyroscope only detects one movement, and that's the 15-degree drift of the sky above us. Every experiment that shows the Earth's 66,600 miles per hour around the sun has shown the null result. It also fails to detect the gigantic or the galactic linear and rotational velocities. Have fun, sheep. Well, I appreciate your comment. Regardless, I disagree with everything in that statement. I'm assuming that was the guy who was supposed to be on the show with us. Um, Look, if you would like to have a civil discussion, we will be more than happy to have you on the show with us. But if you're just gonna, go on a rant in the comments and not want to participate in the discussion, then hey, more power to you. I'm not gonna stop you there. But today's topic is on time travel. We're gonna kind of go over a few different things. We're gonna go over pop culture as far as time travel goes. We're gonna go over how you can actually time travel in reality. It's not exactly possible, but it is a interesting concept. As if it could happen, then it would be a reality in time travel. However, time travel you only be able to move forward, not backwards in time. So we'll go over that later on, um, and then we'll go over some theories as to how time travel works and how some people think it work, and also go over some people who claim to have time traveled. I don't think they're accurate, but yeah, we'll go over that, and then we'll also go over what's known as Simpson's theory. So we're gonna take a quick break while we wait for Aaron to come back in the studio, and we will see you there. All right, we are back. Aaron is back in the studio. Welcome, Aaron.
Hello. I apologize. Nature calls sometimes. You got to answer. Not much we can really do.
All right, so as I said, today we are going to be talking about time travel. We're going to jump right into this. I said we're going to go over some pop culture and what time travel is in there. We're going to go over
hmm
how time travel could actually work in reality. We're going to go over
Yep.
how myths of people thought how time travel were gonna could work. We're going to go over people who said that they've time traveled, and we're going to go over the Simpsons theory.
Right.
So we'll go ahead and start with the first one there. Um, so
Pop
some
culture.
pop culture, right? So I mean, you name it, you know the movies, you love them, right? Back to the Future, Terminator,
That's the
Hot
future.
Tub Time
Yeah.
Machine. You know, like you name the movies, right? And there's hundreds out there on time travel, right?
Yeah.
And there's various
Oh
different
yeah.
ways that you can time travel throughout these movies, right? Whether it be a flux capacitor or the little weird orb thing from the Terminator, right? Or a hot tub.
Right.
Um,
Hot tub. Yeah. Of
yeah,
all things, a hot tub. You know.
yeah. So, I mean, there's been different ways in pop culture to describe how time travel works, whether it's like science, technology, or if it's like magic.
Yeah.
Um, there's been movies where they show like divine intervention, where like angels or God bestows them with the gift of time travel. There's movies where they like keep reliving the same day. It's kind of like a time travel type thing.
Oh yeah. Lots in a point in time.
Yeah, like they die or whatever, and they
Yeah.
come right back to that same point in time, like at
And
the
just
start
to
of the
do it
day.
all over again.
Yeah, and they get to do it all over again until they get whatever they need to do done.
Yeah. I mean, Naruto kind of, if you're an anime fan, kind of play with that idea with
Yeah.
Itachi's ability where he locks a person at a certain point in time, and the only way to really snap out of it is to actually realize and recognize and do something different.
If you want to go with some
Um,
animes, Samurai Jack was all about time travel.
oh yeah,
Yeah, he goes all the way back to the past, and he has to fight his way back up to
I
the
mean,
present.
yeah. Um, I mean, there's also other forms of pop culture as well,
Um,
where they say that if Dragon Ball Z, perfect example, where Trunks goes back in time, tries to change the future, and events happen completely different and don't affect his timeline. Whereas these people have gone back in time, but they are literally creating a new branching path rather than changing the current one.
right. And
Um,
I think
so
a
there's
really good
many
model
different
of
ways.
how even like same with Dragon Ball Z is or similar to it at least is how Marvel did it in Endgame.
Right.
Right, where they go back in time with the pin particles there. They get all
hmm
the stones and they beat Thanos. What to beat, or to reverse everything. So they ended up reversing everything, but Thanos from the past goes to the future, and they beat him again the second time. Well,
Right.
technically they didn't beat him the first time, but you get what I mean. Yeah, they killed him in the
Yeah,
first
yeah,
time
yeah.
after he used him, but they beat him this time, and in this reality, Tony dies. Um, But like nothing else changed though. Like, they didn't change the future at all. They just, or rather their present, they just brought everyone back.
Right.
So, and then they were Captain America was the one that was able to return the stones back to where they were from, and he stayed in the past,
Yeah.
changing his future though.
Right. Yeah.
So
No,
the
no,
way
the
that
pop.
their time travel worked was like even the past is on a set timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of weird.
Yeah. It's kind of like
So
Dragon Ball Z.
theoretically,
Uh,
um, uh, what is his name? Steve Rogers there, Captain America, he was living with another copy of himself at some point during this present. If it goes by
right.
the chronological order, like in the 2012 portion when they were having the battle for New York, there would have been two Captain Americas. Just one of them would have been much older because he stayed in the past and grew up then. The other one would be battling.
Right. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, at
Yes,
the end
technically
where
there would
he
have been
shows up all
two of them.
old, he's lived his life differently.
Yeah, so technically, according to how their timeline and their sequence within the movie, there would have been two of them at that point,
Yeah,
all the way
I
up until the
mean,
point where he actually goes back to bring back the stones, and then that version of him ceased to exist, essentially. Well, kinda.
yeah, it's a very complicated, timey wimey, whatever the phrase was that Doctor Who kind of says. I don't remember
Yeah.
the
Well,
timey,
I commend
wishy washy.
Marvel. I commend Marvel for it because theirs makes sense though. Like how time if time travel
Right,
worked, it makes sense, right? Because
right,
they didn't really change anything, but there just would have been two of them. You know, it just doesn't show it in the show
yeah,
or in the movie, but there would have been two of them, and they explain that. I think pretty well. Whereas like Back to
right,
the Future has a very a linear timeline where it's like they go back to the past, they change some things, and the future changes completely. But there's not necessarily. I mean, there is like two Martys at one point, but like it's weird though. Like
yeah,
yeah, it's kind of I don't know how to describe it. It's just a much more simplified version, I guess, of how they do their time travel.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, there's also the forms of like infinite copies of you, because if you go back in time to change something in the future, essentially you've got that
mm,
locked point in time where you're going to
so
keep going back in time.
I'm glad you said
There's
that
also
because
that.
DC does a
Hmm,
fantastic job at that of having multiple
right,
copies, right? Thrawn, if you guys don't know who Thrawn is, he's the Flash's villain, right? The Flash is the fastest man
right,
alive in DC comics, right? So
yeah,
Thrawn is infamously known in the comics for making duplicate copies of himself, right?
right,
He does this multiple times, and all of these and they're not copies of himself necessarily. They're him from alternate timelines, right? And he
yeah,
just keeps bringing them back to whatever time, right? Tells them, hey, we're just gonna all meet here. Screw the timeline, because he doesn't really care. Because
yeah,
Thrawn kind of lives outside of the timeline, which is another thing that's kind of weird for DC that they did. Speedsters are able to live outside the timeline because they live throughout the Speed Force, which is a whole different type of line, I guess. It
yeah,
lives outside of time and space.
right,
So that's why he's able to do that and just disrupt the timeline by doing that. And they literally just kill themselves or throw themselves away at the Flash to beat him.
yeah. I
Um,
mean, there's Kingdom Hearts. I don't know if you've ever played Kingdom Hearts, but Kingdom Hearts is one of my favorite game franchises. But anyway, essentially, there's a evil villain who's got multiple copies of himself, and they are all him from different points in time. With they all kind of have the same goal, but they're all the same person. It's very confusing. If you're interested in the timeline for Kingdom Hearts, it is very convoluted and confusing. Go and watch a lore video if anybody's interested. I cannot go into it here because I cannot remember it off the top of my head, but it's very strange because in order to acquire a goal, he essentially had multiple copies of himself at different points in time, influencing the story and creating a chain of events that would lead him to being able to accomplish his goal. Um, so there's lots of different pop culture and ways they do things.
yeah.
Time travel is a very complicated discussion in terms of pop culture because there's just so many different versions. There's no way to really sit there and go, "Oh, well, this is probably the way it should be, or the way this one will be," because they all kind of work in some way. They
So
all still play with the fundamentals of going back in time,
yeah.
and something happens from
So,
doing so.
most of the pop culture time travel involves devices, right? There's some sort of device that allows them to go
Right,
back in time, right? In
right,
Terminator, it's like a little disc thing that turns basically sucks you up into like an energy ball and spits you back out in the past or future.
right.
Um, Whereas in Marvel, they have the little watches with the pin particles in there. Back to the Future, you have the flux capacitor. Most of these pop culture things have like some sort of device that allows you to time travel.
Right.
A lot of like animated shows or cartoons, typically it's like some sort of power that they have
Yeah.
or like ability that they have that allows them to time travel. Um,
Yeah.
but that's just typically from what I've seen from the pop culture I've seen on time travel. It's mainly that. Occasionally it's like some sort of angelic or demonic ability that they get in some pop cultures that allow them to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, if you guys are just joining now, I apologize for my voice. I'm a little bit lethargic right now. I'm not feeling the greatest. I'm a little sick, but
Yeah.
I'm here trying to enjoy the day with you guys, and I've also been up for over 24 hours, so I had some doctor's appointments
Oof.
today, and health is good, other than me just feeling blah. And
Yeah.
I also worked last night, and I haven't been able to sleep because of the doctor's appointments. And then I had the show with you guys
Man.
today, so I'm probably gonna hit the bed after this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, I'm probably gonna be doing the same today. Yeah, I was supposed to be going, out to a friend's tomorrow, but that's kind of been cancelled. Things got in the way, and tonight I'm going to be enjoying a good sleep. I've got an event going on tomorrow that I've got to attend,
Well,
so.
if you guys are ever wondering about, okay, you heard me say time travel is possible earlier. Um,
Hmm.
Theoretically, it is possible, right? The big
Right.
issue, it's not possible. At least not for what we know today. It's not possible, right?
Hmm.
Um, but theoretically, it's possible, and the way that it could be possible is you need to be able to travel at the speed of light,
Right.
right? You physically need to travel at the speed of light, right? And for every single second that you're traveling 1 year, right? So if you traveled at the speed of light for 1 second and you were to come back to Earth, the Earth would have moved 1 year into the future.
Right.
But that's not how that works, though. So you'd have to move away from the Earth at one light year away, right? At the 1 second,
Yeah.
right? And you'd have to move back, so it'd technically be 2 years. And the Earth would be in a different spot as well. So then you have to travel to the Earth at that point. So it'd be 2 years and some change by the time you returned.
Hmm.
And I'm not gonna pretend to understand the science of that. Einstein did the
Oh, no,
research
no.
on that, right? But
Yeah.
Einstein's theory on that, though, right, also says that no object with mass can travel at the speed of light. So, with that being
Right.
said, we're all mass. We all have mass to us, right? Every object has mass at some degree, right?
Right.
So, a feather has mass even. May not be a lot, but it has mass, right? A
Right.
feather cannot travel at the speed of light because of that. Light travels without mass. Light has no mass. It's the only known thing to not have mass.
Right.
So, how do you
But,
travel at the speed of light? Well, theoretically, if you got a ship or a space shuttle, right, and you had engines that could be compartmentalized engines, like tiny engines, right, enough like to fit onto that shuttle, right, that were able to somehow generate the speed of light, right, you would actually have to exceed the speed of light to propel the mass at the speed of light.
right.
And therein lies the problem of time travel.
Yeah.
If you cannot propel mass to go to the speed of light, or if anything with mass cannot go to the speed of light, right, because of terminal velocity, right, meaning like if you drop a bowling ball down, right, in a
Yeah.
vacuumous area, all right, and you dropped a feather in a vacuumless area, they both hit the ground at the same time. It's terminal velocity going down.
Right.
Now, if you have airflow and everything, friction speeds it up as it pushes through the air. So that's why
Yeah.
something with heavier mass falls faster in air. That's just some history
Mm,
lessons for you guys, right? I did a little bit of
yeah.
homework. Bear with me on it. But now we're talking in space. We have the ship, right? The ship has mass. The engines have mass. The fuel has mass. Everything in that ship, that including you, have mass. You need engines that can propel up to the speed of light and propel everything else that has that mass up to the speed of light.
Right.
It's impossible. There is nothing in existence that can do that,
As far as we know.
as far as we know right now. There's nothing in our known galaxy that we know of right now that we can see or use that we know that can do that.
Right.
For people who think that these black holes are wormholes, no. Hawking's theory proved that wrong.
Hmm.
He's I would take his word on it. He dedicated his entire life, and he is a genius. If you don't know anything about him, I suggest go looking him up and looking at his work because it's astonishing. I did that over my weekend.
Right.
So I consider the three greats, honestly, just being Newton, Einstein, and Hawking, Stephen Hawking.
Yeah.
They're like the three greats as far as developing, you know, trying to figure out what gravity is, to finding the equation as to how gravity works, and to finding the theory of black holes, which was the one thing that was missing from Einstein's equation. Hawking was able to plug some of those numbers in,
Yeah.
and they basically just discovered everything that we know in the universe today. Those three. But
Hmm.
based off of all three of their principles, time travel's not possible, as far as we know right
Right.
now. So,
Yeah.
what
I
what
mean,
what do you think on that?
I yeah, I'm not even gonna pretend to understand it all because I kind of don't. But yeah, I feel like you'd need to be able to move faster than the speed of light to possibly warp it in some kind of way to potentially get the effect that you would need to be able to travel. And you're talking about not just yourself, the area around you, all the molecules, whatever you happen to have on you, whether it's clothing, jewelry. You'd need an extremely powerful power source to
Yeah.
even comprehend being able to do
So
all that.
the light that's coming from those engines would be able to travel at the speed of light, but nothing else would be able to.
Hmm. Well, what the thing is, we're always discovering new bits of science all the time, right? Right now, in our current comprehending, our current understanding of what we are capable of, we don't have this ability. We just simply don't.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe if we ever did survive long enough, got to a point where we could be interplanetary, maybe someday we may possibly get that technology. Who knows? But right now, as far as I understand, there's no feasible
So
way to definitely do that. So
there's
I'm not going
only
to say it's absolutely impossible. I'm just going to say it's more. It's not 0%.
well, the one pop culture reference going back, right, that makes me think
Hmm.
of this theory, right, as far as time travel, like
Right.
as a reality could be, is Planet of the Apes,
Right.
right? So if you don't remember, like the old Planet of the Apes, the main character in there, he was an astronaut, right? And he crash landed back down on Earth, and everything was blown up, nuked, everything like gone, right? And there's apes running the planet, right?
Right.
So he was thinking, "Oh, I was only gone for a little while. How did this all happen so fast?" You know?
Right.
So it's theorized by the movie that he was traveling at the speed of light out in space and came back somehow.
Hmm.
and it was hundreds of years, I think, in the future at that point. Maybe more.
Yeah.
So they got that they used that theory for the movie, and when did that movie come out? Good God, that was so long ago.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, there are some theories about
1968
supposedly.
is when the movie came out, and they
Hmm.
got the theory for what people believe time travel was right.
Right.
That's pretty intense, and they do it on a movie that's like about apes ruling the planet.
Yeah.
So interesting. I just find that very interesting that they were able to figure that out.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the 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 complexity surrounding it is it's just not feasible right now.
Right. Right.
Um,
Yeah,
uh,
it's impossible for
like
us right now.
yeah.
It's absolutely
I mean,
impossible.
what are your thoughts on aliens being able to travel at potentially the speed of light? I'm not saying the time travelers. I'm just saying more so in the sense of if they are in other places of the galaxy, potentially coming here would mean they would need craft that could potentially do so.
Maybe not necessarily.
Uh, Theoretically,
I mean, we
depending how far away they are.
so we have no idea how long their lifespan is, how fast their like their vessels or whatever they're traveling in could travel. Maybe they don't need one, you know? So we don't know any of this, you know? And this is why
Hmm.
I do believe in aliens. I do believe in certain maybe alien crafts of UFOs to a degree, but at the same time, like I also believe that our universe is so vast that I really don't think that aliens would come to Earth. Like, why would they want to come here? We'd be such a primitive
Yeah.
planet to them that there's no purpose of being here. This is why I have trouble with people saying like, "Oh, I've seen aliens," and I'm like, "Did you though? Or are you just making up something for your 5 seconds of fame? Or are you crazy?"
Hmm.
Because why would they even bother with us, right?
All
I'm
right.
sorry, but if I was a superior being, right, or someone who is far more technologically advanced, right? I know people don't like to talk about colonialism, but let's say this, right? I'm a European colonial, and I come to America for the first time. I'm one of the first uh, British colonials here in the land, and I see an ant. Do I give a crap about? I almost swore there. Do I give a crap about that ant? Yeah.
Hmm.
Do I care about that
I
ant?
mean,
Probably not. I probably don't care, and that's what these aliens must think of us. You know what I
and
mean?
I a little bit of an interesting ends. I feel like they are very clever.
But
So I
if
know.
I'm going over to find new lands or places to settle or something, do I care about an ant?
Well,
I
maybe.
I I don't
I
think
mean,
I do.
let's break down the logistics a little bit for a moment. When it comes to that, essentially they may be seeing how we are evolving, whether we may be feasible to be part of whatever it is they are. Maybe they have a certain division and they are curious. I mean,
So
it's like think about how much time we've spent researching all these animals over the years. Despite all our technology, we're still researching animals today. There are some of us that have a real interest in looking at animals, learning how they work, the patterns, the teamwork they use, things like that. So maybe to some alien species, part of their job is investigating other species and what they
well,
do, and
okay.
occasionally they check in to figure out
We'll
stuff.
we'll we'll, we'll play into
Research,
human nature, right? Say roles reversed, right? We're the advanced species that discovers new life, right? On another
right?
planet. Let's say their planet is resource rich. You already know what the answer is, what we're gonna do to them. You already know.
Well,
We're gonna
in
eradicate them
our,
or enslave
I
them.
mean, yeah,
We're going to
unfortunately, we do
eradicate them
have
or enslave them.
people who would.
That's how
Yeah.
humanity is. Why wouldn't they do the same to us? We'd be eradicated or enslaved right now if there was alien life that found us.
No, I don't necessarily agree.
Based off the human logic
Because
of
that's
it.
human nature,
Right.
right?
But I'm just saying, based off the human
Um,
nature and human logic and just the laws of nature
but
essentially and how it works.
these beings aren't human. So they may have a different
Right. Well,
nature and
just
the
the
way
laws of
they
nature
view
itself.
things.
When something superior meets something weaker, it takes it out.
Not always. There are plenty of instances where animals who have seen their prey and chosen to work with them rather than killing them, despite them being much weaker and easy pickings. Some animals work together, so not necessarily. I don't think
I
that's
think it's a very
that's.
rare case though.
I mean, some animals actually
Yeah.
do this as a part of
So
their living. They
that
have a
that
symbiote
right
kind of
there
relationship.
that right there explains to me that maybe one alien out of all of them would be like, yeah, no, let's not do that to them. And the rest of those aliens are like, yeah, shut up.
I mean, we don't know about the higher
Yeah,
echelons of
I
who's in
mean, like
power. I mean,
everything's theoretical and we don't know, but I
yeah,
still
yeah.
believe in. I think if aliens found us at this point, they wouldn't be trying to coddle us and research us. They'd be killing us and enslaving us.
No, I don't necessarily agree with
I
that, but fair
yeah,
enough.
that's just my viewpoint on it. I think
Yeah.
it'd be a way for the colonialism essentially.
Mm, yeah.
And
I
I
think
mean,
that's just
honestly
a
though,
very
I think we're
human
probably
thing to do.
rather unimpressive, not very impressive to these beings, and why bother with us?
I mean, like we have unique resources, as you stated before, wood, right? So if wood is our thing that we kind of have that we can't really find anywhere else, maybe they're interested in seeing how we work with these materials. Maybe some of the materials we want
Possibly.
to see how we've used them, because they may be able to do specific things with whatever materials they have at their disposal, but they might be interested in seeing how another species interacts. Kind of like how we see monkeys. We give a monkey a tool. What does it do with it? Do you see what I
Yeah.
mean?
I mean, look, I like the
Um,
optimism look on it. I just don't think it's feasible.
I mean, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, look, that's a great scenario and best case scenario for us, but I just don't see that as a feasible scenario.
Okay, I agree to disagree on
Yeah.
that one then.
Yeah.
Um,
We'll put a pin in
but
it.
let's say they were. Do you think
Uh,
they would have vehicles that could potentially travel at the speed of light or close to be able to travel so far?
I I couldn't answer that question. I really don't know. Possibly. I would say
Hmm.
anything's within the realms of possibility.
I mean, we talk about sometimes going to other planets and needing to have vehicles that can travel at a certain speed, like light speed and
So
stuff to reach certain
I
places
think
feasibly
I
for
think
our
I think
lifespan.
a more feasible thing would be essentially what they do in Star Trek, which is warp speed, right? And warp speed isn't like traveling at the speed of light. They're not doing that in Star Trek, and a lot of people think they are, but
Right,
they're not. They're warping space around them. They're using space as
right,
friction as they move. They're using friction as they move through space to go faster.
right.
Now, the thing that Star Trek got wrong about that, though, is when they come out of that warp speed, they just come to a dead stop. That's not real.
Oh yeah, you
If you
can't
were
just
to
super
come out of
accelerate
that,
something and then just come out of
yeah,
it.
when you come out of that, you're going to be flying at whatever how fast speed. You're going to be just zooming,
Right.
and you're not going to have no brakes out in space.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm sorry. You're not going to be stood there on the deck of your ship, and then it warps, and then you're just going to arrive, and you're still stood there
So
perfectly fine, no motion behind it.
when you warp and you're in space, you would be able to stand on the deck of your ship, and you wouldn't feel it as if you're like you're in a car. It wouldn't be that way. You'd be able to stand just normal. But the second you stop, you're going to go splat right into the windshield. Or right into
That's what I'm
the
saying.
yeah, right into whatever is in
Um,
front of you. You're gonna go splatting right into it at the speed of whatever you were just traveling at.
right.
If you stop that
Yeah.
fast. But realistically, There's models that have been developed for that, and they actually showed coming out of that kind of speed, and it's a very long slowdown period, and basically you
Right.
need to like a second like if you wouldn't be able to warp speed from us to Mars because you would smash right into it or go past it into the asteroid belt. But say you wanted
Right.
to go from like our system to the next system, you would like go to warp speed, and within like I think it was like 2 or 3 seconds, you would have to jump out of it, and you'd reach it probably within the next couple of years,
Right. But obviously,
based off of
you're
the
on the
speed
risk
from the
of
show.
not. But then you run the risk of not being able to calculate whether there's going to be anything in the way,
Right, right,
debris wise.
exactly.
See, it's like with Star Wars, where they kind of do like the warp drive and stuff like that. So they somehow have the ability to calculate whether they're going to be going straight into an asteroid field or whatnot. We can't necessarily, that's a bit
So
ridiculous
the way
to
they
say.
describe hyper hyperdrive in Star Wars nowadays is
Mm,
you go into an alternate dimension and come out back in your original dimension. That's how they describe it now, and it's very risky, I guess, every time you hyperdrive travel, which makes no sense
yeah,
because everybody does it all the freaking time. Apparently, they travel along these
yeah,
lanes that they developed that are supposed to be safe for
mm,
travel.
yeah. Well,
But I think that's not a very good reason for it. Or I mean, it just
mm,
kind of takes away from some of the, I guess, I don't know, aspects. I think they should just said spooky space technology magic, and I would have liked that a
yeah,
lot better than the way they described it.
right. Yeah,
So
I mean, I don't know, we're going a little bit off topic, but it's kind of important because we are talking about theoretically warping.
the time
So
travel.
if you was to time travel to a degree, you'd be warping something, right? You'd be warping the space that you're in to a degree, manipulating it to be able to travel back in time. And another complication you kind of have to worry about is if I go back 50 years into the past, like let's say I'm sat here in my chair right now, and I go 50 years into the past, who's to say there isn't a stone there or something else, a tree that I could potentially just appear in and get squished? You know, there's so much that goes into it um, that adds so much complication because there's a theoretical chance of winding up in the space of something else. Because I don't know what's here exactly 50 years ago, and this exact spot that I'm in exactly right now. There's no way for me to know that. So essentially, anything could be there. An animal, a bird. There's a lot of complication behind it in what you could potentially run into, really,
Yeah.
when it comes to time traveling. Um, like you're not. I don't think you're going to be stuck there inside of a little machine, and you're going to appear in that machine perfectly intact. I don't think it's going to be that simple as we like to believe in. Today's media with a lot. The way a lot of them kind of like describe time travel. Oh, I'm going to wind up in the same spot. You're probably not going to be in the exact same spot, and you're probably not going to be there perfectly relatively unharmed every single time. Depending where you choose to do the time travel, always has risks and repercussions that could potentially go wrong.
You're right. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into the break here. When we come back, we'll go ahead and discuss you know, people who have said that they've time traveled. Um, we've already kind of gone over the theoretical ways that you could, and we'll go over Simpson's theory though. So people who have time or claim to have time travel and the Simpsons theory, and then we'll grab some thoughts onto where would we go if we could time travel when we come back.
Oh yeah, yeah, sounds good.
We are back. What up?
Back.
Welcome to the Phenomenon Normal podcast. Oh my gosh, I cannot talk today. I am so lethargic, guys. I am
Uh,
so sorry. I'm just not feeling well. I am under the weather right now. I've been up over 24 hours. I'm trying to push through this because this is a fantastic topic and I love talking about this kind of stuff. And I love hanging out with
uh,
the community. Despite you guys not wanting to
yeah,
talk, I know you're there and you are listening and welcome.
yeah,
Thank you for that.
indeed.
See a lot of return viewers inside the chat right now watching. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for always being here and supporting us.
Yeah, appreciate it for sure.
So over the last segment, we talked about pop culture references to time travel. We talked about how it could be theoretically possible. We kind of went off topic a little bit about talking about aliens, but we're on topic still with it because we're talking about time travel with aliens. Is it possible for them, possibly? Um, a little bit more pop culture into it. And then we went over at the very end about what we're going to talk about right now, which is people who have claimed they have time traveled. And I'm going to start off with the elephant in the room here. And we are going to go ahead and talk about John Titor. He
There's
is
an
the,
elephant called John Tudor.
yeah, yeah. He is the most well known, I think, at least the most well known person who's claimed to time travel. Um, so whenever I think of, oh, I've time traveled, he's the one I think of, right? Um, I don't believe he actually did because a lot of his predictions just did not come true.
Right.
Some did, but not all. The ones that did were kind of like givens. Like, yeah, we already know that's gonna happen. But
Yeah.
he is the most widely known one to have come out and say it, and he was on another show that I do listen to as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and read his little Wikipedia bio here. And give him some highlights here. Between 2000 and 2001, an online bulletin board. User self-identified as John Titor became popular as he claimed to be a time traveler from the year of 2036 on a military mission, holding the many worlds interpretation as correct and consequently every time travel paradox as impossible. He stated that many events which occurred up to his time would indeed occur in this timeline. These include a devastating civil war of the U.S. in 2008, followed by a shorter nuclear World War III in 2015, which we kill 3 billion people. In the years following his last post and disappearance in 2001, the non-fulfillment of his specific predictions made his popularity decrease. Criticism has pointed out flaws in Titor's stories, and investigations suggest his character may be a hoax and a creation of two siblings from Florida. The story has been retold on numerous websites, in books, in Japanese visual novels slash anime, Steins Gate, and in a play. He may also um, have been discussed occasionally on the radio show Coast to Coast AM, which is the show I listen to quite frequently. Um, if you haven't listened to Coast to Coast AM, you're missing out. Shout out to
Hmm.
them. Uh, in this respect, the Teeter story may be unique in terms of broad appeal from an originally limited medium, uh, uh, an internet discussion board. Jeez, I cannot read either today apparently. But yeah, so he's claimed so far to have been mostly just a hoax. All right, but back in the day, I do remember hearing about all this stuff and oh, could this happen? Would this happen? And he yeah, he shot up in popularity for a while. At least the name of John Titor, on the bulletin boards online at the time.
Right.
So it was interesting. But as the times that he predicted things would happen didn't happen, people are like, yeah, okay, this guy's a hoax.
Right.
So um, some people claim that Nostradamus was a time traveler, as a lot of
Hmm.
his predictions have come true.
Yeah.
or at least what people have interpreted as his predictions to have come true. There's no physical claim saying that he was a time traveler, but maybe someone who just saw into the future.
All right.
So we'll go ahead and say that one as well. Um, Sorry, I forgot to look up this post here.
Right.
But anyways, yeah. There's a few more of them. The Bob White and Tim Jones is very similar to the John Teeter case. You know, a lot of spam emails were sent on the internet between 2001 and 2003. Just subjects of different types of time travels, things that could have happened. Again, they got pretty found out quick that they were hoaxes as well.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, there's a whole slew of these things that have come out. There's a painting where supposedly an iPhone was there. There's a painting in 1860 with an iPhone in it. See if I can't get that up on screen here. Hold on.
Yeah. There's
I'll try
some
and get that
interesting
up here on
stuff.
on the screen for you guys here. Just bear with me here. So, here we go. You can see here. I don't think I can zoom in. No, I can't. Okay. Go ahead and take that off the screen real quick while I get that back up.
I mean,
Okay.
look.
So, I know you can't see my mouse, but as you can see what's in her hand right there, it looks like an iPhone.
Hmm.
That's what people have claimed, or at least a smartphone of some sort, right? That's
Let's
what some people
see.
have claimed it is. That this painting's from the 1860.
So I think that's pareidolia. I feel like she may be holding like a Bible or a book or something. It's quite common in a lot of old paintings for a lot of you know, symbolism with a lot of these paintings and stuff like that. So
Yeah. I mean, it's just some online viewers they claimed that it was a phone. Um, and
yeah, I mean, like I said, pareidolia, where
yeah,
they think it's an object and they want it to be the object, but it's not actually the object.
yeah. Um, Here's another good one too. It's been largely regarded as a hoax, but
Right.
it's still worth talking about. And this is a
Yeah.
the U.S. Navy, which is the USS Eldridge, right? It was a ship around the 1940s, right, during World War II.
Right.
So, in what was known as the Philadelphia experiment, the name was given to a naval and military exercise, which was supposedly carried out at the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Hmm.
Sometime around October 28th, 1943, it is alleged that the U.S. Navy destroyer escort USS Eldridge was to be rendered invisible or cloaked to enemy devices. The experiment is also referred to as Project Rainbow. Some reports allege that the warship traveled back in time for about 10 seconds. However, popular culture has represented far bigger time jumps. The story is widely regarded as a hoax, like I said. The U.S. Navy
Yeah.
maintains that no such experiment occurred, and details of the story contradict well established facts about the Eldridge, as well
Hmm.
as the known laws of physics.
Right.
So, the Montauk Project is also associated with this. That was alleged to be a series of secret United States government projects conducted at Camp Hero or Montauk Air Force Station on Montauk, Long Island. I'm probably pronouncing that name wrong too, but deal with it. For the purpose of exotic research, including time travel. Jacques Vallée described allegations of the Montauk Project as a outgrown of stories about the Philadelphia experiment. So they claimed that this ship was able to travel back in time. And I remember hearing about this back in high school as well. Um,
Yeah.
Now whether or not it's a hoax, uh, you decide. I don't know.
Right.
So that's just some stuff. Yeah, you got the Bell, which is a purported Nazi time machine that was supposedly part of a flying saucer. That's another one.
Right.
So there's a whole slew of these time travel theories and things that supposedly happened, but no one really knows.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you seen the one on Putin?
No, I have not seen that one.
I sent you a link.
Take a look at it.
With a few interesting photographs of people that seem to, be out of their time essentially that shouldn't really kind of exist, but
Okay, yeah, I've seen something like this before.
yeah.
I mean, then again, like the thing is, right? I've seen people that look identical to me in the present day,
Oh yeah.
right?
That's yeah.
So to say something like, "Oh, I had someone who looked like me back in the 1920s," like I'm looking at this picture of Putin, guys. If you don't know, I'm not gonna put it on screen, but you can find it. It's easy to look at. Just type in like you know 5 pictures of videos which prove time travel exists. Right. This is a link that Aaron sent me here. But it shows a picture of supposedly of Putin from 3 different years: 1920, 1941, 2015, all the same age. I think that's a complete hoax because I mean, look at Putin today. He,
Oh yeah.
he is old
I
as can
think
be.
it's out as well.
Yeah, but
It's
I
just
mean, they're
interesting.
very close lookalikes of what Putin looks like. Those two other people.
Oh yeah.
The 1920s one, 1941 one, that might be the same person. I don't know.
Might might be.
Yeah, I mean, it's only
Who
20 years
knows?
difference. I look the same as I do
Yeah.
roughly about 20 years ago, so maybe a little bit more wrinkles. Um,
Yeah. There's also there's quite a famous one. Is a picture of a guy who seems to be in clothing which doesn't match the
period clothing.
era.
Yeah, the only thing I'm seeing in that picture is he's the only one that's not in a suit. Like, they had clothing like that back then. That's the 1940s. They had clothing that was just plain. Not everybody was out there
Hmm.
wearing suits and ties. It was the norm to wear that kind of stuff because everybody wanted to look classy and dressed up. But yeah, it wasn't like you had to wear that stuff.
Hmm.
So that one can be kind of, take it how you want.
There's also a few photos of people supposedly having bones and things as well.
Yeah, I'd have to watch that later. I'm not gonna put that up on the screen
You
though.
know,
That could be for a future topic here, or a future time. Like we can come back and cover time travel again.
um, I'm not as I got that photo
We can
linked
we
to
can
it.
go we can go back to the present. You see what I did there? Yeah. But yeah, I just there's a lot of people who have claimed to time travel and just yeah, every one of them have been found out to be hoaxes for the
Um,
most part. Um, People have predicted the future, and some people said they're time travelers. And those people have never, well, a lot of them have never claimed to have time traveled. They just claim to have known the
no,
future, like they've been told about it. So again, you can take
right.
that with what you want. Take a look at this other one you sent me.
Uh, yeah.
Bunch of pictures.
There's one.
I mean, to me, that looks like it's a pocketbook.
You think so?
I think so.
I mean, I don't know why they'd be holding up to the rear like that.
People are weird.
Nah, I don't know about that one.
I don't
I
know.
feel
I
like
don't think time travel is even possible for us. So I don't think that. That's just my belief. I mean, the closest thing I would say
right.
to a time traveler, we'll get to that here in a bit. I'm not gonna do that right now. I got about 15 more minutes with this topic, and then we're gonna go into the Simpsons theory, and that's when I'll talk about why I believe that at least people can see the future in some way, shape, or form, but not time travel.
Hmm.
But yeah, to me that photo, I can't get it full screened. Yeah, I'm having difficulties getting that full screened.
Right.
But if I can't do it this way. Um, oh, not that. All right, there we go. Got it full screened. All right, so this is the photo that Aaron sent me here. She supposedly shows a woman here holding a cell phone. Did it say what the date was on there? What the date of that photo was supposed to be?
Um, Problem is, I don't exactly have the specific date. It's around 1938 or
Yeah, I was
something.
about to say 1940s maybe. That's what,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe around then. To me, it's a very blurry photo, obviously, but judging by the size of it in the first photo there, and then looking at the woman right in front of her holding that another object right in their hand, it looks almost identical. That's why I'm saying it
Right.
looks like a little hand purse, or like a carry hand, purse, not one that you throw over your
Hmm.
shoulder, but one that you just carry around like a little pocketbook.
Yeah.
And
Um.
that's why I think it's that. Um, why she'd be carrying it like that, who knows? But I mean, who would she be calling in that time? You know what I mean? There were no satellites,
um, I mean, who knows?
so you wouldn't be able to
I'm
make a
assuming if
call.
somebody, I'm assuming if somebody has the ability to time travel, they probably haven't done it alone.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is like phones use satellites to have communications, and there's no satellites in that time era. So the fact that
I
she'd
mean, it
be,
might operate on a different, you know, how we used to have like kind of like radio kind of frequency kind of stuff.
uh, I don't know. I mean, cell phones don't operate off that though. So if it was a cell phone like they're claiming it is in the picture, that's not true then. It would have to be some other kind of device.
Right. It's still interesting to think about though,
Yeah, I'm
the
gonna go with it and say
potentiality.
say that it's a pocketbook. That's my theory
I
on that.
mean, fair enough.
Yeah. I'm having a hard time believing that's anything other than that.
Yeah.
Again, you know how I am. I'm a big debunker.
Uh
That's just how I
huh.
am. Alright,
Yeah.
go ahead and close that out. Whoa, what is going on with that guy's junk?
What are you looking at?
The photo you sent me. That's what I'm looking at here. You know what? You know what? No, we're gonna let the viewers see it because
Yeah.
they need to know what I'm looking at. They need to see this guy's junk apparently.
What? What?
Yeah, yeah, look at that. Look, you don't see where the circle's at. It's literally aiming at that man's junk.
I mean, that's not what.
Yeah, go ahead and tell me I'm wrong.
uh,
That
he's
man is
not
getting a crotch shot of his junk. So this one is interesting to me,
right.
though, regardless, right? Because you can clearly see this guy holding something up, and if you look closely enough
Mm,
at the top screen, it looks like of that thing that he's holding. It doesn't look like a
yeah.
cell phone, but um, it looks like a like the old like cassette player Walkmans. Kind of looks like that, but instead of it opening up on its side, it's opening up from the top. That's kind of what that looks like. But it looks like if you
Mm,
look into it, there's a screen on top there, and it looks like the guy's shorts right there on the screen. At least to me, that's what it looks like. So that's why that's interesting to me.
right.
I mean, okay, so This is obviously an older photo, but it's not incredibly older, I would say. Um, I'm looking at the cameras that other people are holding, right?
Right.
And you know what? Y'all bear with me here for a second here. I'm gonna leave this on the screen, right? So that way everybody can
Mm-hmm.
get a good, decent look.
That is junk. Yeah.
I'm gonna do a quick Google search or something here and see what um um looks almost like a flip camera. Or I don't know if that's what they're called though. Does this video or does this picture have a date?
uh, uh, um, Give me a moment. 1962.
Okay. Oh my God, I hate this. I hate this so much. Why does Google do stupid stuff? All right, I'm sorry guys. Okay. So I'm gonna put up another picture here in a second. Just bear with me. I'm loading the picture.
Roger that.
It's still loading. It's taking forever. I don't think I can do a side by side for you guys. 'Cause I don't have the technology. I'm not that special.
Right.
But yeah, take a look at this. All right, it should be on screen now.
Right.
Does that
Let me.
does that look like the other camera? At least from the like we see the back side of it, right? But that's about the same shape, right? And it flips vertically, like you slide it up.
Um.
To me, that kind of looks like that. Now we don't see the backside of this. We do not see the backside of it.
I don't know. Uh.
Oh, hold on. No, that's okay. That's a battery pack for it. It kind of looks like it, honestly. Um, I can't get all these photos up, guys. I'm sorry. I don't have any of this all prepped. This is just kind of off the whim because Aaron's sending me photos and I'm showing them to you guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, this honestly, like what I'm seeing on this looks like that camera. And this came out in 1962.
I'm trying to zoom into the other photo here.
So if you want to take a look at it, it's called the Yashica sequel.
No, I don't think so. No.
No.
No. Where he's filming, there's no lens thing there. No branding at the bottom piece. Because I'm zoomed in on the
Hmm.
photo right now of them. Getting a crotch
So we got
shot.
about 5 more minutes to try and figure out what kind of camera this could be.
I don't know. Maybe it's a kind of camera. Who knows? It's just interesting to speculate on whether it might not be because of what it looks like. Kind of looks like a flip phone. I mean, who knows? All I can really do is speculate and guess. At the end of the day, that's all I can really do. But from looking at that picture and the one that's in the photo, it's not the same now.
I'm on a link and it has the exact same thing for the photo and everything. It says upon closer inspection, it becomes clear the photographer is using a box camera.
Ah, okay. So it's not the same one; it's a different one then.
Yeah, it's a box camera. So when you the top piece there's no camera lens or there's no like screen. It's actually that's actually the lens.
Right.
Yeah, it's not a screen, it's a lens.
Right.
So it's been debunked.
Yeah.
But anyways, all right, we're gonna move off a little bit earlier into this, right? We're gonna go into the Simpsons theory. What is the Simpsons theory, you may ask? Well, the Simpsons theory is about the creator, right? I believe his name is Matt. Was it Groening? It's Groening. So Uh, there's a bunch of conspiracy around him as far as a time traveler, right? Um, and predicting the future, right?
Mm.
Yeah. So it's known as the Simpsons theory for all intents and purposes, right? Um, not only did he create the Simpsons, but guess what else he created? Futurama, right? Which raises more speculation that he could be a time traveler, right?
Right.
Where fries in the air was like 3,000 something or something like that, right? So,
Mm.
and it's all like tubes and everything in New York, and there's an old New York is buried underneath in the sewer systems now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but the thing that's really weird is The Simpsons, right? And it's still doing it to this day where it just accurately predicts the like historical events and future events to a scary degree,
Right.
right? Like there was an episode, let's go recently, where President Trump became the president, you know, before it even happened. Um, there's one now that showed Lisa as the
Pardon me.
president,
Sorry.
right, in the show, which is
Right.
suggesting to people that there might be a woman president here soon in the near future.
Ah, I know what you're on about now. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're predicting
Um,
all these so-called events.
yeah, when the nuclear plant in the town had a meltdown, and then not even a couple years later, the Fukushima plant had a meltdown.
Yeah.
Like,
The 9/11 towers as well
yeah, the
was
9/11
also another
towers.
one.
Yep, there's another one. Yep, there's a lot of stuff that they do. The NSA spying on people after post 9/11.
Right.
They predicted that. I think it was in 19 either 97 or 98. Can't remember off the top of my head. It's been
Right.
a long time when they came out with that episode. But yeah, it was about the NSA spying on people.
Right.
Maybe no, 1993. It was 1993. It came out for that one.
Right.
Um, Tom Hanks in the Quarantine that came out in 2007. It's to a scary degree, that they've had these kind of things.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely very interesting. It's just like either they have the roadmap of what's going
Yeah.
on, or a
So at the
crazy
time of
string
this,
of
so
coincidences to a
the
degree.
Express wrote an article about this, and this was written back in it doesn't have a date for the article. That's okay,
Yeah,
2020. So 3 years ago, this article was written, right? And at the time of that, right, it says right here. I'm gonna read a little tidbit from it, right? It says one prediction to come true is probably just a coincidence. Two, mildly concerning. Three, something's definitely up, but more than 18 accurate predictions. That's how many The Simpsons has
right.
had as of 2020. It was 18 accurate predictions that came true.
Yeah,
You're telling me this guy doesn't know some stuff? So I've said this before. Either one, he's a time traveler. Two, he could just see the future. Or three, this has all been planned out by some greater power. Everything that's going on, it's all been planned out and written as if it's a script, and it's just happening, and
right.
he has insider knowledge onto it.
I mean, call me conspiracy theorist if you want, but I think that's what it is.
You know, given recent events in the last couple of years, I'm inclined to believe that as well.
Yeah,
I think he's an insider. He's part of their little ring of things that are going on, and it's all scripted, and it's all this stuff is supposed to happen. The coronavirus, the nuclear plant blowing or having a meltdown. Even
yeah,
World War III has been predicted. So keep that one in mind, people. They did World War III in The Simpsons. They've also did the Rapture.
yeah.
So
I mean, I think there's also there was also a Walking Dead episode where when we had the whole Ebola thing that was going around
so
years back,
yeah,
around the point where Herschel was in the prison and he's going Ebola,
yep,
and shortly after, what happens?
yep. The
There's
whole
a big
Ebola
Ebola
outbreak.
outbreak going on.
Yep.
So I think there's a lot of nods to things being told secretly. Who knows? Maybe that's a way of messaging the people to let them know that we're going forward with it. Who knows? Maybe it's a hidden message, so to speak.
So the whole thing with the corruption of the FIFA industry too. Sean
Mm,
predicted it in 2014 on the show. 1 year later in 2015, um, there was a real world FIFA corruption that was brought to light.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just be back in a second. Sorry, guys. Go restaurant real quick.
Yeah. Back in 2012, they predicted that Greece was going to have a financial collapse, and in 2015, it actually happened. Um, Disney's takeover of Fox was predicted in 1998 on the show, with a giant 20th Century Fox sign listing it as a division of Walt Disney Corporation. Lo and behold, 2017, Disney buys Fox for 52 billion, and that's a direct line there too from this article. A bunch of Super Bowl predictions as well. Not only which teams would go, but who won. Um, so yeah, yeah, from 1992 to 1994, they predicted which teams were going to go and who won. So it's just there's a lot of this stuff. If you guys want to check this out, the Express, it's a news journalist article type thing online there. You can look them up. They wrote a whole article. The Ryan Healy, art graphics and
All right, I'm
video
back.
editor. That's the name on this article. So if you want to take a
Right.
look at who did this, you can go look them up. Very well done. A lot of research into this and time taken into this. But
Hmm.
yeah. So that's what I'm trying to say is like there's just so much that the this guy has speculated and come to light.
Right.
So, but people think he's a time traveler because he also created Futurama.
Right.
So,
I mean, there's quite a few authors that have made many books over the years that have supposedly predicted future events, and some of them have been fairly accurate at some points and failed in others. I can't quite remember what these books are off the top of my head, but supposedly a lot of world events that were actually predicted in some of these books that have actually come true. Now, not all of them have. It's led a lot of people to speculate they're either time travel or they have inside knowledge.
all right. Yeah, I mean, it could be very well be that, just people having insider knowledge on stuff, but it leaves you to wonder and think, it brings about the wild conspiracy theories about not only just time travel, but okay, well, is this all scripted? Is any of this supposed to be like for real?
Hmm.
So part of me, right, I don't want to go into the whole conspiracy thing yet because that might be a whole nother show in itself that we might do.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say when I think something's not a conspiracy, right? Like when I think something's like actually happening that's not supposed to be part of the quote unquote plan, right?
Yeah.
When I think I know that's happening is when the government starts to really panic. And you'll see it, they scramble, right? They're freaking out. They're
Mm-hmm.
trying to get stuff sorted out and figured out because
Yeah.
something's not in their control. And they freak out. And that's not just the US government, that's
Oh yeah.
every government. They freak out as if something's not going right. Something's not going according to
Definitely.
the quote unquote plan. And that's when you know, okay, this is really actually happening. So,
That's it. I
yeah.
mean, when the government is trying harder and harder every single day to silence people and shut certain people
So,
down, shut down
okay, I'll give you guys
independent
I'm gonna
news
give you guys a quick
companies and stuff
example.
like that.
I'll give you guys a quick example, right? We'll go with the Twin Towers all the way up until Bin Laden's death, right?
Mm-hmm.
Twin Towers got knocked down, right? The terrorist attack happened on 9/11, right?
Mm-hmm.
The United States government sent the people into a frenzy, right? With it. Everybody lock your doors, stay inside. Military, go home, change to civilian clothes, all that kind of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
They sent everyone into a frenzy. What did the US government do at that time? Does anyone actually know? They set up a meeting,
Yep.
closed door meeting. What was discussed? We don't know. They still haven't released that.
Mm-hmm.
Not released,
Oh yeah.
right? Were they actually saying, "Oh, who attacked us?" Or were they saying, "Okay, it's part of the plan. They attacked us. Now we got to retaliate."
Right.
Now fast forward though. Bin Laden gets assassinated. What happened? The American people cheered. They were happy. Hey, he's dead. We
Mm-hmm.
got him finally, right? The American government, is it real? Who is it? Are we sure it's him? What's going on? I need to see a face. Send me a picture. I need to make sure he's dead. They freaked out.
Oh yeah.
They absolutely freaked out to make sure it was real. And then what did they do immediately? They put the SEAL Team 6 on blast. They showed faces of them. They put them on blast. They put their lives in danger.
Right.
Why? Because they screwed up. They messed up. Call me a conspiracy theorist, right, if you want, but this is just what I've seen, right? And this is just one instance. There's multiple instances of
Mm-hmm.
this, right? The government does not freak out when it goes according to plan. They strategize and they have their little secret meetings. But when things
Hmm.
don't go according to plan, like, oh my God, we actually got this guy. I don't think they thought that we were actually going to get him. That it was actually him. But when they actually
Right.
got him, they freaked out. They didn't know what to do. They didn't have no closed door meetings about, oh, we got him. Shh, don't tell anyone. Yeah, we got him. No, they blasted it. They put they put our soldier or our military's lives in danger
Hmm.
because they didn't know what to do. They freaked out and they screwed up.
Yeah.
So when something doesn't go according to their quote unquote plan, their script, they freak out, and that's when they lose control and they panic. They go into panic mode trying to get everything back on script.
Yeah. I mean, again, call us a conspiracy theorist, but I agree. I mean, look what we're doing. Look what they're doing right now. Interfering with social media, which is actually a breach of, I believe, your amendments or whatever it is. In the US, I don't quite know the full thing, but all I know is essentially the government are not allowed to interfere with things like Twitter and all that kind of stuff. Use it for elections and stuff like that. They are actively interfering with social media, censoring people. All
Yep.
the independent news outlets, people like you or me just talking about the news, are being censored, shut down.
Yeah.
YouTube's blocking us and all this kind of stuff. And we know YouTube has been working with the government, and so has social media been working with the government. We have proof of this. We got files. The evidence is out there. They've actually been actually working to shut down opposing voices rather than the standard narrative that's coming from all these news outlets, which is pushing stuff in our face and telling us what news do we need to listen to. That's really trying to keep people quiet because that doesn't function into their plan. They can't paint a narrative if there's tons of people on the outside going, "Oh well, this isn't how it is. This is actually how it is," and giving people evidence for it. They can't have that. So what they're doing, they're panicking. So now we've got censorship like never before. Free speech is going down the drain because
So
it's out of their
we we
control.
we could talk about this in the next segment here if you want, but
Hmm.
we'll get back on topic real quick. So the we only got about 8 more minutes left of this, anyways, till our break, and then we're gonna go into our off topic.
Hmm.
But sorry, 7 more minutes now. But
Yeah.
so as far as like the time travel thing goes, I don't think it's real unless you're able to travel at the speed of light, like I said, which is
Yeah.
impossible to do for us at this current time.
Hmm.
Um, according to the theories that Einstein, um, Stephen Hawking, Newton's Isaac Newton's laws, of gravity. If you add up all their stuff
Hmm.
together, it points to if you can travel at the speed of light, you can time travel into the future. And for every single
Yeah.
second that you're traveling at light speed, you're going 1 year, 1 Earth year,
Right.
roughly 1 Earth year. I think it's a little bit more actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the was it the Blackbird that was like the fastest craft ever made? Couldn't even travel at that speed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the chances of us being able to even do that right now, it's not feasible. We just can't produce that.
So yeah, it says right here, um, just from MetaFacts. Take it. I don't know anything about their site, so I'm just gonna quote what they say off of it. So as far as we
Hmm.
know, nothing can go faster than light. However, if one travels close to the speed of light, time behaves differently than we are used to, and in this way, one can move forward in time faster than those left behind. So it is theoretically possible to time travel to the future, but one could not return to the past.
Right. So, in regards to that, if you could travel back in the past, what
Yeah.
would you do?
Uh, that's a tough one, especially for someone who went to school for history. Put me on the spot with that one. There's so many, man. I don't know. I really don't know where
Hmm.
I'd go. Uh, Maybe the 80s. I mean, I know it's not that far back, but
Hmm.
either the 80s or maybe like I would love to have sat in 1776 when the Declaration of Independence was made and sat in on that
Yeah.
and seen that.
Hmm.
Um, oh, what else? Trying to think, man. There's just so many things though. But like,
Pardon me,
I think
sorry.
like maybe would I want to go there, but I don't know because it would definitely suck being in that time period.
Oh yeah.
But to see it, like maybe like Japan, feudal
What
Japan,
it's like, yeah.
when the pyramids were being built.
Hmm. I'd like to go to the dark ages of history. You know, the bit that we're supposedly missing. Hundreds of years of darkness that we just seem to have no record of.
Hmm.
I'd love to go to that period and find out what the truth is.
Well, I mean, the
What?
medieval
What?
ages even is kind of like that, where there's just not much recorded history. A
Right.
lot of
I
what we
mean,
get
I'm a
comes from folklore.
I'm a big fan of medieval period kind of stuff. You know, knights, the skill it would have taken in battle, and all that kind of stuff. To be able to be on a battlefield where you got like tons of people around you, being in the thick of it, and you know, skill kind of playing a big part in how well you would do in a battlefield. And obviously, you've got the unlikeliness of obviously, you got archers who could potentially take you out. But I feel like it was a time where literally skill was a massive factor in the survivability of a lot of these people.
So
Back then people were taught how to work
we
the land and stuff like that. Today we're not taught all this. You're not taught
we
how to go
got
in your back garden at
so we have
school and
about 2 minutes
grow
left
all these
here.
crops and stuff.
If you could go anywhere in time, forward or backwards, where would you go, and
Mm.
like what time period?
Oh, it's a good question. Um, I honestly do not have an answer.
I would
I'd like
go
to go back to the medieval period for sure.
medieval.
I feel like,
I would go to the year
yeah,
3000. I'd rather see the future. I can read about the past. That's how I see it. But I will never see the future. At least not that far. So I think I'd go to the year 3000 and see how we progressed or
yeah,
declined.
fair,
And then if anything, I can pick up a history book then and read about it.
yeah.
See what I missed out on.
Kind of like Back to the Future, where he gets
The
the
almanac.
records
Yeah.
for like all the bets
Yeah.
and kind
Well,
of
I mean, I wouldn't even do it for that.
things like
I
that.
would literally just do it
No,
just
no, no,
to
no,
look at history.
no. I'm not saying for that. I'm saying like in the sense of like having that knowledge of the past and just being able to read what happened.
Yeah.
You'd have like a book or possibly probably not books. I guess we'd have like technology, computers, and all that. You could research all this stuff on possibly,
Yeah.
but
But we are
within pushing current technologies, would you even be able to theoretically access any of the terminals to theoretically learn said knowledge?
I would try my best.
Yeah,
But we are at break time, so we will catch you guys top of the hour for the off
fair.
topic hour.
Yeah, sounds good.
And we are back for the final segment. Let's just pause the music there. We are going into our final segment, our last hour of the show, the off-topic hour. I do believe Aaron may be away, but that's okay. We will just go ahead and talk about some more stuff about this time travel until he gets back. Oh, wait, I hear him. He may be coming
Sorry, I'm
back.
back.
Okay, he is back. We are in the off-topic
Sorry.
hour now.
Yeah.
All right. So you wanted to talk about some stuff you were telling me over the break.
Oh yeah, yeah. So we're on the discussion of what we'd do. I mean, honestly, if I could travel to the future, I'd like to potentially do it for the benefit of humanity. Essentially,
Well, what
I
if you
feel
could
like,
only travel in one direction and you couldn't travel back?
ooh, if I could only travel in one direction, I couldn't travel back. That's
Yeah.
a
So
great
we'll
question.
do both scenarios for this, right? So let's do future first. So if you could travel to the future, where would you travel to if you couldn't travel back, but you could travel to the future?
I mean, I don't think we'd be around in year 3000.
Yeah, I know.
Honestly,
Yeah, so we wouldn't exist anymore, but I mean, we'd be dead, but
I'd probably like to travel, say, 300 years, maybe
300?
2300, and see whether we're there then. If we're not, then well, that's just unfortunate, you know.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with 3,000. I want to get to
Yeah.
the next what is that, century, millennia, whatever. Millennia, right? Yeah.
Hmm.
Get to the next millennia. And if we're gone and dead or blown up or whatever by then I mean, that sucks.
Yeah.
But yeah, if not, and we have some advancements, I mean, that'd be cool.
Oh yeah. I mean, see, I feel like 2300 would be more feasible for the chance of humanity still being potentially around. I feel like year 3000, I reckon we'll either blown ourselves up, burn this planet of resources, or gonna be back to like the tribal eras because of world wars or some stupid crap that the bloody elite set up. Uh, uh, um, you know, that's why I say 2300. I think it'd be more feasible. I don't think we'd be around in year 3000. Either that or we'd be off world if we do exist still. Um,
I mean, assuming we don't kill ourselves or we get some disease or something that wipes us off the planet. Not COVID.
hmm,
Sorry, I can't say that word. Get banned off
uh,
YouTube for that now.
oh yeah, yeah. Even if you're telling the truth and you have actual facts, misinformation, you're not allowed to say it.
Yeah, we'll
Again,
probably get flagged for this,
out of the control.
but yeah. So
But anyway,
with that though, I mean, if we don't like wipe ourselves out or get wiped out somehow in the year 3000, I just think about how advanced we would be.
oh yeah, that's
Assuming
fair.
we stop fighting over religion and other crap that we shouldn't be fighting over. You shouldn't be fighting over religion in the first place. And if your religion encourages fighting, then guess what? Your religion's probably the wrong religion.
Yeah,
Religion's supposed to be about
honestly,
peace and loving and caring and sharing
yeah,
and and if it's about war, then you're a zealot and yeah, you're probably practicing the wrong stuff.
yeah. I mean, we all know how much the Crusades kind of went a bit too crazy with religion for war and all that, and what they did.
Yeah.
You know.
Apparently they won another crusade these days.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. But
I
we're
think
getting
a
off
lot of these
topic.
yeah, I don't want
Uh,
we won't get
yeah,
into it.
yeah.
But
Uh,
all right, so if you could go back in the past though, where would it be and what would you do?
medieval periods.
Medievals?
Um, yeah, I know it's not the most ideal time to be alive.
So
It's not the most hygienic and stuff like that,
th
but
there was a video I watched about that saying like, would you be able to survive in the medieval era? And this guy was like, probably not. Nobody from today would, right? Because our bodies are so, you don't think of it, but our bodies have evolved since then, right? Back in the day, they were
right.
drinking water with dysentery in it. Like you'd get dysentery from drinking water back then.
Yeah,
Today, or back then they could drink it and their stomachs were lined differently to where they were able to drink that or boil it and drink it. If you boiled that water and drank it today, you'd still get dysentery.
right.
So your stomach cannot handle the water back then. You would need purifiers in order to be able to drink
Hmm.
it. Not only that, but all right, food and water aside though, you wouldn't even be able to speak any of the languages then. So
Well, you'd
you
have to
wouldn't be able,
learn.
yeah, you'd have to learn, but there'd be no way to communicate with anyone right at the beginning. And then the third thing is back in those days, everything was based off family, and you would have I'm son of this person or father of this person or something, right? And if you don't
Oh yeah.
have that, you were known as an outcast, and you weren't able to hold any kind of jobs or offices or anything. You couldn't do anything in those times. You couldn't even be a serf on a farm. So you would literally just be a social pariah and a beggar.
I mean, honestly, living in nature,
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind it. Honestly, living
Now
in the
I don't know
nature
how true
actually.
this is, but this guy's like a medieval historian. I don't specialize in that stuff, but that's what this
Yeah.
video I saw, and he studies the medieval culture pretty hard, like pretty pretty well.
I
And this
mean,
is what he was saying,
I
like how it would be.
yeah, I'd like to learn, how they conducted medieval combat. Potentially try
So
and learn how to essentially, live off the land
well,
like
if
they
you want
they,
to
they
know about
used to do.
medieval combat, I got you. I know about that. I've studied that quite a bit, and it's not what they show in the movies. There's
No,
a
it's not what they show in the
yeah
movies. I know that.
yeah.
But I mean, like,
There's a lot
there's
more
obviously
tactics
techniques.
involved.
There's techniques they used to use. They weren't very well documented, right? There's a lot of books, and we speculate on how the book is supposed to interpret things. But I just like to learn how to live off the land and just be like fully self-sustaining,
So
really, to a
so
degree.
a little tidbit, and I'll tip my hat off to your people there, Aaron, over there in the across the pond.
Yeah.
During the medieval era, the English came out with the longbowmen, right?
Yep.
And they were probably the best trained bowmen in the world at the time.
Oh yeah.
So a lot of people don't know this about medieval warfare. but the only ones that really got a lot. So knights were typically the people who were close to the royalty or had some sort of status, right? They were the knights, right? They were the ones who wrote, which were different than horsemen, right? Horsemen are different than knights, but the knights were the ones that were typically the ones closest to like the nobility, right? They were
Right.
because they've been knighted. Horsemen, on the other hand, were like a shock unit. They were not typically peasantry. They typically worked directly for the like whatever crown they were under, but
Yeah.
they were like the flanks. They would flank a formation or route a formation, right? Meaning and a route
Yeah.
meaning like they collide into that formation and make them run away from the battle.
Yeah.
Um, so that's typically what they were used for was that. But the bowmen had extensive amounts of training. Like I'm talking years of training. They were the most trained troops on the medieval
Oh yeah.
battlefield.
Some children had
If you
well,
if
so some actors had developed like problems with the body because they were training to use a bow from so
yeah,
young.
if you were a
Yeah.
medieval bowman, your life was just as valuable, maybe just undervalued, just as valuable as the noble that was commanding you.
Right.
Like if you were to die in battle as a bowman, that organization, that nobility just lost one of their most expensive assets, and you can bet your butt that they were gonna come after you for that.
Right.
Yeah, your life was extremely valuable as a bowman because now if you died, they just lost like 3, 4 years of training in one soldier. Now, if you're a
Right.
swordsman or a pikesman, because most of them back then were usually pikesmen, as that was the cheapest weapon to produce back then. Um,
Yeah.
Peasantry typically carried pikes. Swordsmen were usually peasantry at first that held pikes, but eventually got trained into the ways of swords. So they're usually the
Right.
next most trained out there on the battlefield.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, if you were a pikeman, you died. Yeah, yeah, no sweat. Yeah, you're just Farmer Joe down the road. We'll
Right.
replace you with Farmer Greg. But if we lost a swordsman, like darn, that sucks. That was an investment I just lost there, but it's not as bad as losing that bowman.
Right.
But yeah, back in the day, like it's not talked about much with the history books, but the French feared the British bowmen. They feared them with a passion.
Oh yeah.
Um, the British would show like when the British were actually formed as England. Well, it wasn't the British; it was the English. When the English were formed, right, and they
Hmm.
took control of their little section of the Isle, right, and they used to fight the French all the time. The French would fear the bowmen. They didn't care about the French. They had trained military. They had their own bowmen, so they weren't afraid of really of fighting that. But they were afraid of the bowmen because the English bowmen had a further reach, meaning they
Oh
could
yeah.
hit the French well before they could even get to the lines. And by the time the
Right.
French would, if they even got to the English lines, they would have maybe like I don't know 3/4 of their troops, maybe a little
Hmm.
bit more, you know. But it took a huge toll enough to rout them. And you're like, oh, well, they got 3/4 of their troops still. Like, why didn't they attack? Well, you know, you come out with 1,000 guys and you just lost 250. That's a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
You know, you're gonna be like, well, crap. There goes a whole formation. I'm out of this. I ain't fighting that.
Yeah.
We'll fall back, re-engage later, but we ain't gonna fight that now. And that's why if you looked at the maps of medieval Europe at the time, right, there's a huge swaths of French land that went to the British. And
Right.
even to this day, I mean, the French and the British governments, I think, are on pretty decent terms today. But
Yeah.
I believe they settled their land claims now. But for the longest time, even during World War II, the British were still claiming parts of France.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were still saying like, "Oh, Brittany is still ours" and stuff like that. And France is like, "No, it isn't." Um, and there's documents of England talking about taking parts of France back, like Normandy and Brittany and all that from France.
Right.
But they ultimately never did that, obviously. So
Yeah. I
the
mean,
biggest
we
controversy
were kind of all
was over.
allies. It would have caused
Yeah,
too much conflict, so we got a big
right,
world
right.
war going on, you know?
Right, and I think that's what it came down to. And then there was a big conflict, not a big conflict, but a big argument, a political debate over some islands that were off the coast of France, and they've recently settled that in recent years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe England got some of it and France got some of it, so I think they settled it from there, and they're on good terms for now.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, I definitely think that'd be kind of cool going back to the at least to see it. I wouldn't want to stay there, but you know, if I had to go back in time. I wouldn't choose there if I had to stay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't want to live in that.
Where would you want to stay in the past?
Probably the 80s,
80s.
1980s.
Fair.
My
Yeah.
I like still having some technology, but it was a simpler time where I could actually go out and hang out with people, and I had a lot of the music that I enjoy still to this day. So,
Yeah.
I just I was born right after the 80s. I was born in 91. So,
Yeah.
I never got to experience any of that, you know. Um,
Yeah.
My pa- my par
It'd be
my
fun.
parents grew up in that time. They were teenagers then.
Yeah, go meet your parents and just become really good friends with them over the years.
Nah, I'd probably
And
avoid them
then
altogether.
Uh, no, but imagine how funny that'd be. You get to know your parents, right? And
Yeah.
you become friends with them for years, and then you move away. And then when you finally grow up, in terms of that their lifespan, they're like, "Wait a minute, I fucking met you."
Oh,
sorry,
yeah.
sorry, slip of the tongue. My first curse word. I apologize.
But
But yeah, I met you. What?
yeah, I would just settle down, and get a job somewhere, and just enjoy the 80s. I mean,
Yeah,
uh, if I had to go back in time and I could come back, it'd be different. And I talked about that during our actual segments, but if I could go back in time and I had to stay there, I'd choose the 80s hands down. Because
right.
it's the closest thing that we got to our modern day,
Hmm.
and it's something I never got to experience, and I've always looked back at the 80s and like, man, I wish I was alive then. I wish I was a teenager in those days.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Fair.
But if yeah, go in the future though, I'd still pick the year 3000 and stay there, even if it
Hmm.
sucked.
So if you could go back and forth, what would you do with that ability? Like if you had a way to uh, essentially experience different times of living, essentially, if you could go back and forth at a whim to a degree, obviously it's probably going to be some time before you can travel again. But if you had the ability to say, like, go 20 years in the future and then go like 100 years in the future if you wanted to, and then decide to go back to another time and experience different parts of human civilization, would you do that and try and get some beneficial knowledge and understanding of things that you don't currently know?
The first thing I would do is I would assassinate Hitler.
Fair.
I would take my AR and I would zoom in with the scope and I would blow his brains out.
Fair.
I would unalive Hitler so fast.
Hmm.
I don't see any bad repercussions of doing that.
Right.
I see zero bad repercussions from that happening. Just good things. And then if any of
Yeah.
his cronies wanted to take his position after that and keep doing what he was doing, I'd go back and do it to them too.
Right.
So that'd be the first thing I would do.
So, if you knew it didn't have an effect on your future, would you still make that same choice?
Well, yeah, I don't think it would have an effect on my future by doing that at all. Maybe somebody else's, but not mine.
Right.
I mean, my great granddad was over in Europe during World War II, but he survived.
Yeah.
And by me shooting Hitler in the head, I don't think that would change his outcome at all.
Right.
So, towards the end of
Uh,
the war there, especially like, you know, honestly, I'd probably take him out pretty early.
yeah.
I'd take him out before it even happened. That way, the war would never even start. And then
Right.
the issue I see with that though is that as here's the thing, I'd probably let the war happen. As messed up as that sound, I would let the Holocaust happen. I would let the war happen because it helped out Europe in a way, if that makes sense.
Right.
And no, I'm not saying that killing all the Jewish helped out Europe. I'm saying that it got rid of the Treaty of Versailles and got rid of the League of Nations, which was god awful, and it created the
Right.
United Nations, which is also god awful. But it's better than the League of Nations, and it also created the Marshall Plan, and it created a more prosperity in Western Europe.
Right.
Um, so it kind of unified Europe. We wouldn't have the European Union if World War II never happened.
Right.
So, because I mean, the founding members were France and Germany.
Right.
So that would have never have existed. And I think that the European Union is a good thing, despite Britain leaving.
Yeah.
I still think it's a very beneficial organization. Um, even though they don't really do much anymore, except for corruption. Um, they were still
Right.
beneficial in the beginning stages, and without World War II, that never would have happened. So I don't know if I would let the Holocaust go on to the extent it did, if I could go back in
Right.
time and do that, but I would definitely let it at least kick off and start. As messed up as it
Right.
sounds, it would be for the betterment of the majority.
Right.
So, um,
Okay.
let's see. I would eradicate communism completely.
Right.
I don't know how I would do it, but I would figure out a way and I would do it.
Right.
'Cause, it's a poison.
Yeah.
Uh, I like I said, if I could go back still, I'd go see the formation of the pyramids. I would sit there during Jesus' crucifixion and sit outside his tomb and wait, see
Okay.
if he resurrects for real or not.
Yeah.
Um, Jeez, I don't know what else I could do. I miss so much.
Yeah.
I'd discover Australia before everybody else.
Uh, why? Context.
Yeah, and call it Joshtopia.
Okay.
Yeah, name it after me.
Right. Yeah.
Um, I would show up at the Roswell crash landing site before everybody else.
Yeah.
Yep. Let's see. I would sit on the beach of Cuba during the Cuban Missile Crisis and eat popcorn.
Okay. Right.
Yep. As I watch the U.S. Navy square up against the Russian Navy, right on the brink of World War III. When I wouldn't interrupt
Mm.
it, I would let it take its course because I already know what happens, and I would just sit there and eat popcorn as it happened.
Right.
Let's see what else. I wouldn't mind going back to like the 40s in America, like early like 1940, not right before America
Right.
joined the war.
Yeah.
Not right before, but like during the 1940s, because they were attacked in the end of 1941. So not early or the 1940 into all the way up until November 1941 was pretty prosperous for the United States. So I wouldn't mind being there during that time, seeing the
Hmm.
culture and experiencing everything.
Right.
I'd go chill in Hawaii
Yeah.
before Pearl Harbor happens. Um, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of historical things though I would love to just see and do.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if I could go back in time,
I would call in a terrorist threat on 9/11.
right?
Yeah, and if they don't believe me, I'll say I'm the terrorist, and then teleport to a different time, just so that way they took the threat more seriously, and then maybe
Right.
America can avoid a 20-year war.
Yeah. What would you do if you tried to do that and it turns out it was all set up on purpose and it happened anyway?
The thermite goes off.
Huh?
I said the thermite goes off, but the planes don't hit. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if it happens anyways, it happens anyways. But I would at least try and stop it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think.
But yeah, I would also like to see the future. Like I would probably jump to like 2050, see how things are going then, 2100, and just kind of jump in
Hmm,
50-year increments.
hmm,
I would like to see when
yeah.
Julius Caesar marched on Rome,
Right.
when he assumed power. That'd
I'd
be.
like to prevent the burning of the Great Library of Alexandria.
I would like to have
Save
just
so many.
visited it.
Prevent so many of those records from being lost. Possibly make sure the Pentagon doesn't get so many of those religious texts and all that kind of stuff. Not Pentagon. The what are they called again? Um, those religious texts that were hidden from the people. It's being held in the archives. Um, the Pope and all that. Can't remember the name of the
Uh,
organization off the top of my head. My brain's not
the
working.
Vatican.
The Vatican. That's it, the Vatican. I made sure the Vatican didn't get as many religious texts, so we could actually see more of them and see a lot of the truths that they're hiding from us. Make sure a lot of important texts possibly didn't go missing during the Crusades. Take them. But no, come in with me.
Yeah.
Uh, um, I'd like to go in the future and find ways to combat a lot of diseases that are currently affecting the modern world, and possibly bring that knowledge back to help take care of some of them and maybe prevent a major disease disaster that may happen in the future. Make sure the world's prepared for it, and possibly give them humanity a better prosperity of life in those regards, not having to deal with things like that. I too would probably do what you did with the Jesus thing. Go for the crucifixion, see if he resurrects. Um, I'd love to visit ancient Greece. I'd also like to go back in time and find out if there is a pre-moon Earth. Because supposedly that race that we talked about in a previous podcast, where supposedly the moon wasn't always here. Supposedly it appeared, according to some ancient civilizations writings. There was a pre-moon Earth supposedly. I'd love to find out if that is fact or fiction. Because that'd be definitely interesting. That would answer a lot of questions. Uh, um, I wouldn't. I'd like to go and see, ancient time, like dinosaur period, kind of like around that, Ice Age times. Just see what the world is like a bit differently. And obviously, I understand that's incredibly dangerous, and I may not come back. But it'd be interesting to see how accurate or inaccurate we are with regards to dinosaurs and how they look, act, sound, and possibly some prehistoric animals that are now extinct. Obviously, I'd need to make sure I had the stuff to defend myself and all that kind of stuff if I was to ever try and do that. But yeah, it'd be very interesting. Um, I think my biggest thing for me would be the giant insects.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't mind going
I
back to
probably
like see dinosaurs and stuff as well.
yeah. Um, it wouldn't really be possible because I couldn't really breathe, but possibly travel millions of years back in before the Big Bang. See what was there back then. It's just empty space, but I know that's not feasible. That's something I could do. Um,
Yeah.
Obviously, I'd like to see how technology advances over the years in the future. See if we ever realize full-on virtual reality. Because obviously, like, that's a big fantasy of mine. I've always wanted to be in a video game where I'm playing. My reactions. I'm actually fighting, sort of thing. But obviously without the danger of actually dying in real life. Uh, but I've always wanted that level of being able to experience a game and stuff like that.
Yeah.
See if we ever discover the technology to do that and just have the experience of a lifetime. Uh, in regards to one of my favorite hobbies. Um, I'd also like to see if we ever discover like full-on space flight. Traveling to other planets, and if so, possibly maybe travel to one if that's possible. Uh, um, See if we terraform Mars or somewhere, um, and go see what life is like living there with the future humans if we ever did that. But that's what I'd do, possibly. I think there's some of the things I'd look forward to seeing what happens with AI. Definitely,
Yeah.
if you missed our AI podcast, it's on YouTube, so feel free to check it out. Same with the moon. If you want more info on but supposedly the moon not always being there at Earth, according to some ancient civilizations, it just appeared. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube. Check out those. But yeah, I feel like I'd like to look into ways to benefit humanity from the future and see where we end up for sure. I think that'd be my priority, really, first off, before I go around trying to enjoy myself a bit more and experience things.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I'm with you on it. Like I would be jumping around everywhere if I could do that in time travel. So,
Oh, yeah.
but yeah, we wanted to hear a little early. It's 7:33 at my local time. We usually end around 8, but we wanted it a little early today as we kind of hit the topic on the head here. But don't
Yeah.
forget to go over to our YouTube channel and subscribe. Give us a like or a dislike on the video. This video will be posted today, I believe, as long as we can get the thumbnail. I don't know if Aaron's working on that or already has it, but Uh,
I'm really struggling to think of a suitable thumbnail for time travel and how to properly.
that's
Uh,
easy. We could brainstorm that.
we could brainstorm that.
All
Yeah.
right, yeah. So it'll be posted tonight, after the podcast. Give it about an hour or two. It'll be posted up there for you guys. Um, but yeah. Next week, do you have a topic for yours? Think we're
Cursed
talking about cursed
objects,
objects. Yeah, that's right.
curses.
Yep. So next week we'll be talking about cursed objects. Aaron will be the host of that show. I'll be his co-host for that one. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, as our page grows, we're not really getting many more followers and subscribers, but we are getting a lot more likes, a lot more views, and I do appreciate that just as much as I would a subscribe or a follow. So,
Yeah.
you guys all make this channel possible. Again, this is nothing for monetary value. We do everything here for free. This is all just a hobby, I guess, of ours right now, where we just love talking about these topics with you guys.
Oh yeah.
So feel free to join the discussion. Even the guy on YouTube there who made that comment, basically calling us idiots, but we'll take it all. Good, bad comments, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're
Bad
gonna,
comments as well as feedback.
my suggestion is if you're gonna give us a comment, give us constructive criticism, not just criticism. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I'll take the criticism. I don't care. I still disagree with this comment, but hey, it is what it is. Whatever. We can agree to disagree, my friend. Um,
Definitely.
but if you have some criticism for the channel, I take constructive criticism on that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, follow us on Twitch. These videos get posted on Twitch right away, so if you want to watch the video, you can watch it right away on Twitch. If not, you can wait a couple hours and watch it on YouTube at any time you desire. If you
Right.
didn't see the Halloween special, too bad, it's too sad. It is gone. I still have
Yeah.
the recording to it, but you guys will not be seeing it no more. It is now officially gone. Um,
Yeah.
for those of you that were there with us, thank you for being there for that. That was a great little episode that we did about the paranormal, talking about our ghost stories and playing some
Oh
phasmophobia.
yeah.
If you haven't already, join our Discord. There is an invite. Goodness gracious, I cannot talk. There's an
Invoice.
invite link in
Oh,
the stream
invite link.
chat.
Okay.
So go ahead and
Yeah.
click on that. You can join our Discord with that. I believe it's good for I believe three or 5 days. I can't remember. But yeah, it's good for a couple days. I don't have a dedicated Discord thing where it's like, hey, I have a dedicated link that you can just do the join it. I'm not paying for that. So
Right.
until then, you're gonna get different invite links every single stream. Um, and you can click on that and join us. If you are unable to join the Discord and you want to join the Discord, we have an email as well. It is listed on our Twitch homepage as well as our YouTube homepage. You can email me that you wish to have a link to the Discord, and I will email you that link for the invite to the Discord. So you can do it that way as well. And I check that email daily. So if you don't hear back from the same day you sent an email, don't worry, you will hear from me the next day. I promise. I check it daily. With
All
that,
right.
I don't have much else. If you do join Discord, we typically announce the announcements. However, we haven't had too much activity on there, so we haven't been announcing it. But the more activity we do get, the more announcements there will be as far as future videos, and you guys can get little sneak previews and things of that such about the episode and some context about the episode.
Yeah.
You got anything?
Um. I think that's about wraps it up.
Alrighty, guys. Well, we'll see you next week. On November 28th. We will see you then. It'll be a
Yep.
Tuesday. Until then, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Don't think I didn't forget that. Thanksgiving is tomorrow for us here in the United States. I don't know but if you guys do that over there in England, but in the United States we do it on.
Thanksgiving isn't really a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we do Thanksgiving tomorrow here in the United States, and I believe in Canada. So happy Thanksgiving to you guys all. God bless you guys. Have a great night.
Yep. Thank you very much, guys.